Conservative activists and Republican lawmakers in red states that have effectively severely restricted abortion or effectively banned abortion are now attempting to essentially ban their residents from traveling to states that still offer legal abortions. It is the latest chapter in doing away with reproductive rights for some women having lived in these red states. Now, Alabama and Texas are two of those states, but the first to actually succeed in passing kind of similar legislation as Idaho. Back in April, Idaho became the first state to impose criminal penalties on anyone who helps a minor leave the state for an abortion without the parent's consent. Now, while these restrictions appear to violate the US Constitution, which protects a person's right to travel, they are extremely difficult to challenge in court, said Mary Ziegler, a law professor at the University of California at Davis. Because the laws can be enforced by any private citizen, abortion rights groups have no clear government official to sue in a case seeking to block the law. So what she's referencing there is what Texas is attempting to do. There are certain border towns in Texas that right-wing activists have targeted, and they're trying to persuade the city councils there to pass legislation that would allow for private citizens to sue individuals who aid and abet a woman in traveling out of the state in order to obtain an abortion. In the case of Texas, there are new abortion clinics that are starting to pop up in New Mexico, where abortion is still legal. And what these lawmakers want to do, and what these activists want to do, is essentially prevent these women from traveling out of state in order to access those clinics. I have a lot more to get to, including what Alabama is working on, but Cenk, what are your initial thoughts?
Yeah, I hate it, and I hate it because it subverts democracy. So if Texas voted, abortion would be legal. Every red state is voting to make abortion legal if you let the citizens vote. Montana, Kentucky, Kansas, you name it, right? So, but these little podunk towns are going around going, oh yeah, well, we don't like it. So we're gonna make it illegal to travel on our roads if you are doing a policy we don't agree with, okay? So now I'm gonna nitpick every traveler that comes by. All right, okay, then we won't come to Texas.
How do you, by the way, genuinely, I'm curious if there are any conservatives watching the show. Is this the kind of big government surveillance you're in favor of? Because think about what this entails. In order to, let's say you pass the legislation, okay, what's the enforcement mechanism? Do you literally have law enforcement doing checks on vehicles containing women? Do they make them pee on a stick right there to make sure that they're not pregnant as they're traveling outside the state?
No, look, if you're a Republican that's what you would call pro-life, you cannot ever say that you're for small government. So I don't care if you catch feelings over it, there's facts. You're saying government, the jackbooted thugs of the government should get into the doctor's office, get in between the doctor and the woman and say, hey, you're not allowed to do what you want and you're not allowed to give the medical advice that you think is correct. And if you travel down a road, we're gonna find a way to arrest. I mean, and what part of this is small government? And I know what you guys are all gonna say. You're all gonna say, but we had to. Why do you think the left does it? Because we didn't have to? No, we also think we have to. Why? For example, on the left, we have big government that says, hey, factories can't chew up their workers and spit them out, and they have to do some sort of safety. Otherwise, we were losing too many limbs and lives, and we were protecting the workers. We had to protect the workers, right? That's why we did it. We think we did it just to have fun, right? No, it's okay, but you're in favor of big, gigantic government that looks at who's in the car, who's traveling on what road, what's their morality, what's their religion. I don't like their religion. Make them change, make them follow my rules. Okay, that's big government. So own it. You love big government.
So let's talk about Alabama. So Alabama banned abortion at pretty much every stage of pregnancy, and their right-wing attorney general plans to prosecute those who help women travel out of state for abortions. And I want to clarify something in case there's any confusion. In each piece of legislation that I've seen so far, the focus is on anyone who aids and abets a woman in seeking a legal abortion. So the woman herself wouldn't face prosecution, but the individual, let's say driving the vehicle, or the person who organized the travel for the woman, did the research for her, anyone who helped her would be prosecuted. And in this case, in Alabama, the Attorney General plans to prosecute anyone who helps women travel out of state in a motion to dismiss a lawsuit brought by an abortion assistance fund, and others arguing such prosecutions would be unconstitutional. Alabama's Attorney General argued that the state has the authority to bring conspiracy charges against groups who help women travel to another state for an abortion. Another thing I want to just quickly note is I never want to hear the argument that conservatives care about states' rights, or the argument that the reason why they wanted to overturn Roe v. Wade is because they felt that the decision should be left up to the states. Because in this case, they don't actually care about the states. They don't care about a person's freedom to travel across state lines, right? They want to essentially force their political ideology and whatever it is that they think about abortion onto women, and they want to punish anyone who helps that woman, even as she seeks the abortion in a state where that procedure is still deemed legal. Now, Marshall also argued that it's legal for women to travel out of state for an abortion. He suggested that groups that help her do so would face prosecution. Marshall says the following: an elective abortion performed in Alabama would be a criminal offense. Thus, a conspiracy formed in the state to have the exact act performed outside the state is legal. So look, in the case of Alabama, it wouldn't be a private citizen. Obviously, you have the prosecutors here saying that they would pursue prosecution of the individuals who help the women. But Texas is a different case. And in Texas, they essentially want to empower private citizens to sue anyone who helps a woman seek an abortion out of state.
Which also means, by the way, they're going to spy in on their fellow citizens. So great.
Pitting Americans against each other, exactly.
Yeah, well, the way to bring 1930s Germany back. And by the way to bring back the Underground Railroad. Now we're going to have to sneak people out of states because the Republicans want to make them chattel again and say we're going to use your body for 9 months. You have no use, you have no control over it, you have no choice over it. We're going to have big government thugs come into your life, arrest people that know and care about you, and we're going to use your body without your permission for 9 months. That's bringing chattel slavery back, and thereby, and now they say we're going to close off the roads, which is what. You know what the Second Amendment originally was for? It was for militias in the North and the slave patrol in the South. What did the slave patrol do? They blocked roads so the slaves couldn't get to freedom, and they would hunt down slaves to enforce the law. That doesn't sound like small government either, okay? So finally, why not the women? Why not punish the women? Because they know that's extraordinarily unpopular when you go after the mothers. So these cowards who don't actually have the courage of their convictions either go, well, okay, we really want to punish the moms, but that's super unpopular. So we'll punish everyone around the moms. The doctors, their friend who was trying to help them, the guy driving the car, their husbands, whoever it might be, maybe it's their daughter, whoever it is, we're going to punish everyone around the mom, okay? That doesn't really solve anything.
No, it certainly doesn't help them politically, even though they think that the distinction will help them politically. This is tremendously unpopular, and it's, in my opinion, a big reason why the red wave never happened in the 2022 midterm elections.
Yeah, hey, look, anti-choice legislators and anti-choice voters, you guys think you're the majority and you're upstanding citizens. Great, then put it up to a vote. Have the citizens of Texas vote. Oh, you hated Roe v. Wade, why? By the way, I agreed that Roe v. Wade was overstepping. And I had the courage to say that on this show for 21 years, okay? And I think it would have been great national law, but they shouldn't have done that through the judiciary. Okay, so now it's back in the states. So why don't you let your citizens vote? Because conservatives, you know you're a minority. Even in red states, you're a minority, and you want to rule over everyone else, and you want to oppress everyone else with your big government, because you know you're the minority. Otherwise, let them vote. You want it in the states, it's in the states. Let them vote. You won't do that because you know you're a tiny little loud obnoxious, offensive minority. Thanks for watching The Young Turks, really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR. So those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.